Hey folks, how's everyone doing? I hope you're well. We're back here on Project Blackout, our ms290 to 390 conversion using the HIPA parts that they had provided for us to use on this project. First off, we have our cylinder, really nice piece. I have a video showing the unboxing of this and all of the ports, and you know, we're going to check port timing on this here in just a little bit, and I'll let you know what I come up with, and if I feel that, you know, it's right there with what an OEM one would be. Basically let you know if you could just buy this and bolt it right on the saw and get going, and you know, have a good performing saw. I've went ahead and mounted the piston. It did come with the wrist pin bearing. We've got that oiled up. I know one of you guys had wanted a how-to on how to reassemble this, but I have two tear down videos on these. They're both pretty detailed. If you just watch both of those a couple of times, should give you a really good general idea on how to put the saw back together. But we will show bits and pieces of this one going back together, I assume, but you know, I don't think I'm going to do a whole full-blown detailed video on how to reassemble it. But first thing we done was knocked off our, you know, our old bearings, got our crank cleaned up, put in the freezer, and I heated these bearings in the freezer. And these are the bearings that were provided with the kit. Got those installed on the crankshaft. I heat those up in my little toaster oven, and you guys probably hear it, I'm still pretty sick. I've had a fever for like 5 days straight, along with every other symptom known to man that you could have. It's freaking horrible, just like it was a year ago when we had it. But with that said, we've got it ready to put down into the cylinder, and I'm going to mock it up into the chassis of the saw. We'll just put one of our bolts in each corner, and I'll bring you back once I've got it set down in there, and get a degree wheel or a degree finder, whichever I decide to use, set up on it, and see what kind of port durations we have. Alright guys, in my opinion, you could just take this cylinder, purchase it, and put it right on the saw, and it would should perform similar to a stock ms390 jug. Port timing on it's good right out of the box. The transfer timing is even about right where most steel saws are at. Let's see, we had 159 for duration on the exhaust port, and that means it's opening just, you know, just past 100 degrees, 100 and a half, 101, in that general area. And take note, what I get and what you may get may be different. I'm using this degree finder. It's very quick to set up. I get the port open and zero it, spin, you know, do my rotation, the port closes, and it'll tell you the exact duration. It's dead accurate with the degree wheel. Then you can figure your numbers from there. But again, you know, you can zero it out on your exhaust port opening, spin it around till the transfer's open. We come up to around 26 degrees of blowdown, which is, you know, that's in line of where this series of saw would be stock. And we had 154 degrees of intake duration, which is also good. What I'll probably do is probably clean up. Well, the exhaust port looks pretty nice, but we'll probably widen it a little, lay a good polish on it. By the time I've done that polish, you know, the exhaust will probably be sitting dead on 100 degrees. You know, it will move it a little, let's be realistic, but you know, it's not moving it enough to where it's going to kill the torque or the performance of the saw. 1 degree is not going to make or break a saw unless you've already taken it way too far anyway, or just, you know, it's, you know, if it's a really low compression build, you know, and you've went too far, 1 degree could kill it, I guess. But then again, I highly doubt you'll notice a dang thing from 1 degree of duration on anything. transfers, I'll probably clean up the uppers. I'd like to get them, you know, I'd like to move them just that little bit to where we're below 25 degrees of blow down. With the design of these transfers, they do like a little more blow down. You know, it's an open port design. It's having to feed up under the bearing pocket of the saw, so you know, a little more crankcase pressure is probably good on that, if that makes any sense to you at all. Intake, there is that lip in the intake. I'm going to measure it and see how thick it actually is. You know, I don't think it's enough that's going to kill airflow or anything, but on the 290s, I know some of them I've done, you're safe to lower that lip down and smooth it out, but we'll just have to see. But you know, I am going to do a little cleanup port work to this before I glue it and put it into the saw, and you know, I hope people understand that. I don't really want to put it together untouched just to, you know, say I put it in that way, and then I mean, at the end of the day, we're using the product and, you know, showing it in the saw, and I'm going to give my honest opinion on it. But you could just go buy this. The whole kit's like 45 bucks on Amazon. Bearings felt good. You know, it all looked like good quality stuff. But with further ado, we're going to pull this back off, and I'm going to get over here, and it won't take me long to do what little bit of cleanup work I'm going to do. And guys, right there is what I'm talking about. My big finger in there, you ain't going to see it. I have little fingers, but that lip, I really need to measure it with some feeler gauges, I guess, and see how thick it is. It's looking 30 or 40 thou-ish, I guess. That's a little much, but I'd like to knock it down. We're looking at, you know, roughly 77 degrees on our intake right now. That's, you know, that's pretty daggone good. But if I could knock it down and stay under 80, we'd be doing good. But I'll know more when I measure it, and more than likely we're going to end up just leaving it in there, I suppose. But you can see it has a really, really slick finish, which would be fine. The OEM ones, a lot of them look that way, but you know, I do feel it needs a little bit of a texture. I like a 60 to 120 grit, somewhere in that area. I don't get too picky, usually just whatever I'm using, but exhaust support on it, you know, in all honesty, you could just leave that alone. It would do just fine, but we'll see if we get, I don't know what I just knocked down. Chrome plated bore, pretty wide anyway, but as you can see, there is a lot of room to widen that if a man wanted. I used the less is more approach. We'll widen it a little bit. Let's see on our intake side. Honestly, it looks pretty good too. There's actually a little more room there than they are, say, on a 290 to widen that, so we may just use that route and leave that lip in the bottom of it. Like I said, I don't think it's restricting flow at all, but I can pull a 029 Super jug out of a tote I've got over here, and, you know, has the same lip in it. The 290 I just ported has the same lip in the bottom. It's just, you know, overhang from the plate. And the transfers, I do want to drop those a degree or two. It won't take much. What kind of angle we got on those? I know this is going to be a horrible video, but just wanted to get a video made. It does look like they are angled back toward the intake. We're looking a little more flat here, but not too shabby at all. We'll get in there and do a little port work. Like I said, I may bring you back, may not, but, you know, I don't know. We'll try to get some kind of video put together out of this mess for you guys. plating's actually pretty hard. That's what I'm doing right now, just seeing. Yeah, that plating, and that's actually pretty dang hard, guys. That's a pretty aggressive roll. A diamond cutter would probably be best, but somebody's like, what is he doing? I'm working slow. It's something you don't want to get in no hurry on. As you port work on your cylinder, if you're the type of person that's always in a rush, hobby probably ain't for you. This intake port with that knocked down and smoothed out is going to be right at the limit of where exactly the timing could be. Probably should have just left well enough alone, but we're on an 18-inch 325 pitch on this setup, full comp, 710 chisel bit. Be a really nice fast cutting firewood saw, I believe. I mean, it's like 64 cc's or something. If we lose a little bit of grunt, gain a little bit of upper RPM, it'll be okay. Everything don't have to be a fire-breathing torque monster, guys. Yeah, it's knocking that down just fine. I'm gonna finish knocking that lip on down off camera. It was really hard to port through this GoPro. And I'll bring you back when we go to laying a texture in this and widening the port a little. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've knocked that lip out. I done it all with the roll was still pretty coarse, but you know, it was well used. But what I've got on now is a new fresh roll, and we're going to texture this port. I just like to go around and break this edge. This one's really not that bad. You'll get some that are pretty bad, but you know, I'm not telling you not to do anything, but your intake boot, you know, hovers most of this anyway. There's not a lot of sense in hogging it out. You can, I guess, but I've decided against widening this port any more than it already is, because that lip, I'd measured it with feeler gauges, and the port timing's going to be just right at the brutal limit of where you would want to intake on most saws that you're going to work with. So what we're going to do right now is just do a little texture work on this. Try to keep you guys in frame pretty good. You want to run this at a low speed. This is about 100 grit roll. Like I said, I just like to go around and break this edge. I know a lot of guys like to tonsil the intake. That's cool. I've done it. They say there is some power gains to doing it. I don't know. I ain't going to say there ain't. There they are, but I do know the reason that it was originally done on cylinders. Like I said, right now we're just doing texture work all the way into the port, low speed. And this is removing material, so technically it is opening up the port. And usually I'll work around like this. I know you guys have watched me port, put like a little funnel on it. Really hard to do at the angle I'm at, but cylinder port's nice. Really, the plating in it really nice port. I don't know how it would have done doing it with a carbide cutter. I've about leaned completely away from them unless I'm moving something a big great amount. But kind of see the difference we got going on there. Just leaves a really nice finish. You can hear, listen. Really nice texture on that. You know, you could use your double cut burr as well and just run it over lightly, kind of slow. I'll say it again, someone's gonna disagree, that's fine. I get it, everybody has their own way. I don't like it overly rough, but I do feel it needs texture on it. You know, there's a lot of debate on it, but it's just what I've always done. If you pulled the intake off my Mustang, which we're going to do eventually, I've got to swap it to a single plane. All the intake runners and on the cylinder heads are done the same way. About the same grit. Actually, the same exact kit that I buy here to do these. But I'll finish this up and then bring you back when we get around to the transfers, I guess. Alright guys, we're back. I've done what I'm going to do with the transfers. I played around with the angles on them. I moved them a little bit. Should put the time on about right where I wanted it. They really didn't need moved anyway, but I'd rather seen more along the lines of 24, 25 degrees of blow down on it than 26, 27-ish. Where we would have initially ended up after the polish and everything here. But it is like a little lip. Maybe you can hear around the edge of this exhaust port. You know, it ain't enough to restrict flow or hurt anything. And honestly, the port's pretty nice. It ain't as slick as I would want, but you know, I understand not everybody gets into polishing. But you know, we have torn saws down. I tore my milling saw, pulled the muffler down, showed it right here on camera. There was no carbon stuck to it, and that saw had milled a lot of lumber, had cut a lot of trees, a lot of firewood. Polish on it still looked as good as it did when we done it, and you know, I've put a lot of time on it since then, and you know, I'm sure it still looks good if I pulled it down right now. There's our handle. If I keep bumping the camera, I'm just making the screen lighten back up. It keeps going dark, keeps blacking out. I'm honestly just trying to look around the camera. Widening that port at least a little bit goes a long way, guys. And yes, those rolls will pull that back and widen it pretty dang quick. You could get precise, go in, measure, make marks. But I've honestly ground enough to where I ain't gonna say I know exactly what I'm taking, but that would be a lie. You can actually use really light pressure with these and a high speed, and it'll about polish the port on its own, but it also clogs up your roll really quick. Yes, that will raise the roof a little bit, what I'm doing there, but it's not enough, like I said, to lose any sleep over it. It's gonna kill the saw. I honestly had thoughts of jacking this one on up to about 99, 98. was with the short bar saw, 325, 64 cc's. This does a really nice job. Your carbide cutters, your double cuts, single cuts, don't get me wrong, they cut a lot quicker. They also screw stuff up a lot quicker as well. You have to really be overzealous to mess something up with one of these rolls. The lip we had around the edge of that's gone. As you can see, it's just a nice finish there. Like I said, it does widen. You know, you have to just be really stupid with that and sit and hog and push to mess something up. I just really like them. You know, I preach them in every other video I do about porting, but you know, everybody has their own thing, I guess. But I like my cartridge rolls. I'm gonna inspect this here under my light and I'll bring you guys back. Alright, we're gonna do our polish on it. I'm not gonna go too awful crazy, but this leaves a really nice polish. Obviously, the finer the paper you go, you can even go as far as putting Scotch-Brite on this thing, or some steel wool with some WD-40. But usually just some sandpaper. Finer the grit, the better. This will aid in transferring the port when you're going in and out of it as well. I'll quit for a minute just to give you an idea of what kind of finish we're getting on that. You know, just start out with some fairly coarse paper, I guess, and work your way up. And like I said, the finer the material you get, and you can even end with polish and compound and just whatever, but I'm not going to go too crazy with this one. I'm going to do what I know is enough just to keep carbon from sticking, and we're going to get this thing cleaned up and glue it on the saw here tonight and see what our final numbers are on everything, or let you know what our final numbers are. Alright guys, this thing actually ported really nice. Plating on it's super thick and hard. I have no worries of this thing lasting at all, to be honest with you, but who knows, you know, what could happen once it gets hard. But done a little work, their transfers, and I'm hoping this camera don't crap out on me again. Worked our uppers a little bit, played the angles on them, mainly just made them a little more pronounced than they were. The intake, if you'll remember, and the floor of it, we had that lip from the chrome plating. It's no longer there. I done some GoPro footage, but like I said, that thing's acting up too, so who knows what we'll try to get out of this mess or not. But mainly I'm just got to get the cylinder going into the saw and showing it running. Pretty nice texture on that. I was showing the GoPro footage. You can actually kind of hear. I don't know if I've ever done that, but I think it's like 100 grit roll I was using on it. Exhaust, we widened it. Roof of it probably ended up getting raised a little bit. Who cares? You know, what little it raised it ain't gonna make or break the saw. Real nice polish left on that. We did widen it Give you a look at the inside. A little more oval than, you know, what we started with, but, you know, it's not drastically different either. I think she'll run pretty good. I'm going to get the, these things are kind of a pain to get the rings and the piston down in. I think steel does make a little small sleeve you can get, but what I'll usually do is get it set down in there even, and you can, most of the time you can come in right here with like a pick or a small flat head and work each side of the ring in. As you can see, it's tapered here, so it's going to naturally want to go in, but I'd video, but there's really no way to video that good. We'll get our rings on and we'll get it in here and get it glued together and in the base of the saw, and I'll bring you back once we've got it set down in there and some final numbers on it, and it'll probably be the end of this part of the video. Alright guys, this is probably part of the video. Should be video and actually showing the HIPA cylinder going into the saw. I'm starting to kind of feel like crap, getting really congested. It's gotten cooler out. Permatex Moto Seal, you know, your sealant of your choice. Just make sure that it is fuel resistant. Like, just paint it on. You can put a bead, you know, do whatever you want. This stuff's really stringy. It's about impossible to lay a bead with, but I do like to put just a little extra right around where it butts up with the seal there. It's probably totally unneeded. It's just something, you know, I was shown back when I first started doing this stuff. So kind of stuck to it, you know. I always stick to what I know works. And it probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to, you wouldn't want to go crazy with it because you could end up with bearings that are too tight. Block sanded the base of this a little bit just to make sure it was good and true, but what I'll also do is, which this says to paint both pieces or put sealer on both pieces, is we'll put a little here on the base plate itself. No need to put it where the seals are at or bearings, because you can see right there on the camera maybe how stringy that stuff is, but I really like Durco HT. It's kind of hard to get for me to get. I can order it, but the last few tubes I got, it was just kind of hard, but it makes any sense. I've already test fit this cap against the seals to make sure everything's lined up right. You want this for your bar stud to go on the side where the bar stud's going to be. We're going to slide it all in here and hope it doesn't fall apart before we get it down in there. Just like so. It is a good idea to put the intake bead on beforehand, but I'm going to have to dig it out and clean it up. And I just really wanted to get this on and in the chassis of the saw tonight. So for me, it's not that big of an issue to put on anyway. Get our bolts in. You do have 4. Hopefully I still got you guys in frame. Like I said, I'm kind of starting to feel like garbage and ready to go in the house. Guys, it's always a good idea to go back over things. The ratchet or a T-handle, you you know, that impact does pretty good. I think that one's rated at 25 foot-pounds. That's probably right around what they would want these torqued at. But, I mean, give me a break. It's a power saw. That feels real nice, guys. Seal's got a good tight hold on the crankshaft. Our glue came out everywhere I would want it to. We got it together before our glue tacked up. Guys, here's something I just like to do. I've shown this on other videos. I'll do this on every fresh build that I do. I've got some synthetic with a 2-stroke oil that I use pumped into the bottom of the cylinder. And, you know, I lined the cylinder and coated the piston before I put it together, but I like to run that at a slow speed. That will be one nice smooth engine. Like I said, it feels good anyway. Where'd our flywheel go? What I'm going to do next, I'm going to pause you guys because I'm getting tired and ready to go in. We'll recheck all the port durations and check our blowdown, and we already knew our squish was at 46 thousandths, but you know, we have everything cinched and torqued all the way down now, so could be a little better. Who knows? I doubt it. When we checked it, we didn't have rings in it and just had 2 bolts in each corner, so now everything's torqued down nice and snug. What I'm going to do is I'll recheck everything and bring you guys back and let you know what we've got on this. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Final numbers. Squish 46 thou. We got 100 on the exhaust, 123 on the primaries, 126 on the secondaries. We played with the angles on the transfers. I showed we widened and polished the exhaust port. We took that lip out of the floor of the intake port. It did set the timing right at the borderline limit. I did measure it, but I've done enough of these to know exactly about right where it was going to set it anyway. Dead on 80 degrees. We got 160 degrees of duration there. So, you know, 160 on the intake, 160 on the exhaust, and, you know, basically 123 on the transfers is where they begin opening. So, you know, there's your numbers. When you do clean up and polish, it will move that exhaust a little bit, but like I said earlier, it's nothing to lose any sleep over. You're probably not even ever going to feel it in the cut, but you know, those numbers are just fine. This thing, I'll guarantee you it will rip. We're going to run a short bar on it, 325 setup. Short bar firewood saw, 64 cc's, I'll guarantee you. We'll try to get a pretty decent muffler mod on it. Alright guys, other camera died. I'll let it charge while I do some of this other stuff, and then we'll video again when we get back to putting on the carburetor that they had given us, you know, with the kit. But I figured I'd just video and show like where things go. Like I said, naturally there'll be 2 wires going from the coil to here, but we can't find a good one. It's just one of those deals where I've robbed it and put on someone else's saw because they kind of are bad to break. But I do personally know that it'll be just fine with the one. I've ran a lot of my own with just the one ground wire. Like, I think the other wire is like a fail-safe or something anyway, but normally these wires will wrap around the plug wire a bunch of times and back in here, and you got to grommet. But 029 Super, I mean, when was that thing even made? And you know, the 290s, you're probably looking 10, 15 years on those on production or something, but you can see maybe back in here the impulse line. The easiest way to put that on is to take your hemostats or long thin needle nose, come in under this handle assembly, and then just kind of work it on. Goes on pretty easy, but you know, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. Your fuel line will come up through here, and somebody's having some fun on a four-wheeler. And then up here, I was going to video it, but again, dang, camera went dead. Maybe I can pause you guys and get set up and show you how easy those will just squeeze back on. Let's see here, one-handed. Can we make it happen? I doubt it. I've got pretty good grip strength, but it's almost in. There it is. Alright guys, I just wanted to show popping that in, just to show how easy it is, and that can be a pain. Back the first couple of them I done, I had the roughest time getting those in and out. Like to try to help people when I can, I guess, but if I run into anything else that you can't figure out by watching one of my teardown videos, hopefully that other camera will be charged back up and we can video it, or I can throw this GoPro on a tripod. When I get to the carburetor, which, you know, is one of the parts that I said I would show installing on the machine, they called it, we'll bring you back and show you that and the air filter, and, you know, hopefully it won't be too much longer. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do on the Muffler Mod. I'm really thinking about putting a pipe in it, but then again, thinking about just kind of opening up the front baffle and kind of going that route and just, you know, going from there. But I'll bring you guys back shortly. Okay guys, so my other video camera, this will have to be video with two different cameras, which I'd went over that already. I thought I was going to be able to set it up. I actually had it up and had it on, thought it was videoing, but the deal is it has like an internal memory for the HD side of things. Probably doesn't make any sense to anyone. It's just something stupid Sony does. Evidently I'd forgot to format that, and I can't really go through and format it with all the rest of the video on the camera, so it didn't get me sliding this carburetor and linkage in, which is super simple on these saws. They are like one of the easiest saws to ever put a carb on. But just to show, we do have our HIPA carb. I did locate this grommet for the compensation port, and that is what that is called. It is not an accelerator pump. There's no accelerator pump on these carbs. An accelerator pump's something on like ATV, snowmobile, like your big Makuni carburetors, a Holly carb on a car. It basically squirts fuel when you hit the throttle. This is a compensation port. What this is for is when your air filter gets all stopped up and dirty, it limits the travel on the meter and diaphragm, you know, to kind of keep things in tune, to keep you from burning up your saw. But I'd also located one of these grommets. Was kind of lucky on that, kind of afraid I was going to have to order one, but we're going to have to order these two plugs. I think I can locate one for down here. I'm not for sure. I think it uses this small one, but then again, it does look like it's the same as these. So we need to order those buffer plugs, they're called. And the clutch, I thought I'd ordered it for a 290, 390 from Farmer Tech way back when we done the other saw, but I ended up pulling the clutch drum off of my other 290. It's got some carb issues right now. I swapped it over back to an OEM carb, and I'm thinking it needs the little fuel inlet screen cleaned, but we'll get into that another time. Just robbed the clutch off of it. We'll just pick up another clutch drum to go on that saw, no big deal. And these plugs, but boy, this is turning out to be one unique looking saw. I really like it. Went ahead and just stuck the 290 badge back on it. old wore out 029 Super badge up top, but I've got to do the muffler mod. I think what I'm going to do is just, if you guys remember me showing you the muffler that was, where is it at? On the 290 that we just redone and ported. I swear guys, I had that muffler. Here it is. This is our muffler that is actually for this saw. I think what I'm going to do, and I've done it on several, is just maybe just punch me a hole here in the center and open the deflector up a little bit, and then maybe later on, once the saw's broke in, I want to turn it on up. Maybe we can go back in and do, you know, a little more of a muffler mod. But I did use the plug they sent in the kit. Saw feels like it has really good compression, which the 390s usually do. But hopefully the next thing you guys see is this thing up and running. And before someone points it out, I know there's supposed to be a it's a little plate that sits here for the air filter. Unfortunately, I don't have it. It wasn't on the saw that I originally tore down, which, you know, was the 029. So yeah, that's why it's not there, guys. Simple muffler mod. I've done this before on a few of these saws. Works just fine. Got our baffle or our deflector opened up. Later on, what we may do is go in and cut a big portion of that center baffle out, and then maybe put us a pipe in the muffler somewhere. We may even just try to make a pipe for it, who knows. But, you know, right now I just kind of want to get it together and, you know, just get a little run time on it, and, you know, see if this carb's any good and if the cylinder's gonna hold up. And like I said, hopefully the next thing you guys see is this thing firing up. Alright guys, we may as well start it together. If it'll start, you know, if this carb's good, it should fire up. That ain't bad, 6 to pull. She got a nice pop. Screwdriver, guys, that one just ain't gonna do it. Okay, I just pulled the cover. Another J&S brought back from the graveyard, guys. Actually, more than one saw here. That cover is obviously for one of the newer top covers, but it's going on and working and doesn't look bad. But let's see how she fires back. She's sounding pretty dang good, I think. I think we've got a wild dark, a little bit. What I may do is, I don't know, we may try to bar this up and, good Lord, the garage is full of smoke. Check this out. That's really good on my COVID lungs here today. Alright guys, it's a little darker than the camera's making it out to be, and the sprocket I put on it is actually 3/8, so whatever, we'll leave it set up that way. This is bar and chain I bought for my 064. Should cut really well. Leaner up top than I'd like. I'll pause you guys and fatten it up a little. I'll bring you back. We'll see what that does. I'm not trying to beat on it too awful hard. Guys, I'd say that's a win. She needs a little bit of fine tuning, but like I said, it's getting dang near dark out here. Probably shouldn't even be running the thing. Camera always makes it look lighter than it is. But I call that a wrap, I guess. Except we just need to do a little bit of fine tuning on it, and this thing will be ready to be put in the woods and put to work. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Big thanks out to HIPA for the cylinder and the carburetor. They're supposedly sending us some chains to try out, but it's been a little over a week and I ain't seen them. Give a big thanks to Justin Weaver for donating the carcass that we robbed several of the parts from for this build. As always, y'all have a good one.